Thank you. Hi, everyone. You can hear me? Okay, great. Okay, hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. So, because I have a little presentation. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Cool. Can you see my screen? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right, just making it big here so we can see. Okay, so yes, like Miss Taylor said, my name is Lesline, and one of the things I am is a yoga teacher. So before we get into the presentation, I like to just get us centered and just practice a little breathing. So what I'd like you to do is, you're already sitting, so I just want you to get comfortable. And if you would like, you can close your eyes with me. If it's not comfortable to close your eyes, I completely get it. You can just look down at the floor, at something that's not moving, and you can just sit back in your chair. Place both of your hands on top of your thighs, and you can put your palms facing down. This helps us to just feel grounded and rooted in our bodies. Like that big tree that Miss Elizabeth showed earlier, think of yourself as one of those. And as your eyes are closed, I just want you to notice how you're feeling. And if you're not feeling okay, that is okay. You're here now. I just want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Let's do that again, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. I'm gonna do one more breath like that, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Good. Gently open your eyes and just noticing how you feel now. I like to do that just to ground myself, and I like to share that with anybody and everybody that wants to hear. And especially being in middle school, I know right now it's summer, but you can do this activity, you can do this breathing exercise before any activity. So like even if you're like, oh, I'm gonna do my 20-minute reading for the summer reading challenge, you practice your breath and then you get into your reading. So it just helps you to focus on whatever task you have at hand, especially if when you go back to school and you have a test and you're really nervous about that test. I highly suggest you do that breathing, 3 breaths, and you'll feel a little more at ease. All right, so how do you guys feel? Does that make you, do you feel better or the same? Calm? Good. Okay, awesome. All right, let me stop looking at the chat and just look at this. Sorry. Alrighty, so I'm gonna just get into it. So when I was in middle school, I was labeled as being really shy. And I know that might be hard to believe, so I have proof that I was in middle school, because I remember when adults would say, well, back when I was a kid, I didn't believe them. I was like, you weren't an adult, or you weren't a kid, you were an adult. Like, that's the way I knew you. So this is a picture of me, and that's my handwriting back in 8th grade. So this is a picture of me in the 8th grade, and I started and everything, I guess, just to remind myself that this is me. But yeah, I was in 8th grade here. And I went to Liberty Middle School, which is local to Orlando. So if there's anybody here that went to Liberty, let me know. That's where I went from grade 6 to 8. And during this time, I was labeled as being really shy. And growing up, I I remember specifically, like, if the teacher would call on me, and mind you, I did not raise my hand, but the teacher, you know how teachers are, they're like, Lesline, what's the answer to this question? I would hide. I would hide under my desk because I didn't want to be noticed. I didn't like how my voice sounded. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like my hair. There were so many things I didn't like about myself. So when that teacher said, hey, Lesline, what's the answer? I was like, no, I don't want to. And after saying no and not wanting to participate, my teacher would write me bad reports, and I'd have to, give those reports to my parents, because this was back in the day before the teachers could just text, my parents. I'd have to give that report to my mom, and my mom, she would ask me questions like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so shy? Why don't you speak up? And as a kid, here I am as a kid in middle school, I didn't know, I didn't have the answer. And I remember just feeling really hurt, by my mom and judged, and it didn't feel good. So I know some of you in the chat earlier were saying, you're shy as well. So in this presentation, I'm going to be talking about how I overcame that shyness. And so we're going to get into it. But going back with being shy, I know I saw somebody say they were shy. Anybody else been labeled that before? Like, let me know in the chat. And how does that make you feel? We're talking about mental health a lot. So how does that make you feel? Okay. Yeah. You don't go to, yeah. Okay. So it can be difficult having that label for sure. And I know it was difficult for me to have that label. So now that I've overcome it, I just want to share that with you, especially being in middle school. I wish I had somebody that would share this with me when I was in middle school, because I would have probably been more leaps and bounds ahead. So the way I overcame it is with 3 gifts. I gained 3 gifts, and I'm so excited about these gifts. I'm like this little girl on Christmas Day. And but before we get into those 3 gifts, I have a question for you. When you think about confidence and self-esteem, what does that mean to you? Like when you hear, because we've been talking about that throughout this day, throughout this hour, when you hear the word confidence, self-esteem, I put them as one and the same, even though they might be slightly different. What does that mean to you? And as you're thinking about it, or you're writing that down. As you're writing that down, did you think of yourself? Or did you think of somebody else? Oh. I love it. And I love that somebody said that they said themselves, because I know for me, when I would think about confidence and self-esteem before I, found these 3 gifts, I thought of other people. Like I would have typed out this response and thought of somebody else, because I didn't think I was worthy enough of having confidence and self-esteem. Oh, yes, definitely opening up. And I know somebody else had mentioned earlier being vulnerable. Being vulnerable, you need confidence in order to be vulnerable. Because I know sometimes vulnerability gets a bad rap as it being like that you're weak, but that's not true. It's actually you're very confident and you have a lot of self-esteem in yourself. So good. All right, so moving along. So I have a definition here of confidence, self-esteem. It's a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. So that's the dictionary definition. Going back to the 3 gifts, and I know I told you guys I got these 3 gifts, and that's what has helped me overcome my shyness. And now I am, here, and I want to share them with you. So the first gift that I gained was my voice. And this is just a snippet of me talking in front of people. And I share this picture of me because if you had asked that little girl back in the 8th grade that I would be speaking in front of you, in front of other people, and using my voice, I would have looked at you like I would have just been like, what? No, like you're crazy. But the more I've used my voice, I've realized that it's helped me to come out of my shell, to just not be as timid, because that was another label I received growing up, is you're timid, you don't speak up, and it's because I didn't think I had a voice. So, let me know if you can relate to that. Like, you don't feel like you have a voice. And I think I saw somebody say something like that in the chat earlier, that, maybe, I know for me, I didn't think my voice mattered. I didn't think that what I had to say was worthy of anything. And now I know that that is not true. So how do you find your voice? Like, because that can be, you can hear me saying, I found my voice, I found it. But so how do you find it? So one recommendation I have here is to find a safe adult. I know Miss Taylor mentioned earlier, like asking you guys if you have mentors and whatever that may be. And that's really important. So I put some examples here of safe adults. So maybe it's your teacher, a neighbor, a pastor, a guidance counselor, just somebody that is like 18 years and older, that is an adult that you feel comfortable around. Once you find this adult, I encourage you to talk with them, and not just texting. I encourage you to talk, like right now, like talk with them on Zoom, or maybe meet them somewhere with your parents' permission. I'm gonna put that disclaimer in there too. With your parents' permission, talking with them, because maybe you might not have feel comfortable around your parents. I know with my mom, when she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, well, in my head, I was like, well, I don't want to talk to you now because you're asking me, like you're saying, like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. I don't know. So I think there's some other things in the chat. I just want to try. See. Yeah, that's good, Jer. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm gonna need to get that coloring book. I love that. That is so good. Awesome. So going back to, like, I know I said find a safe adult and find somebody that you can be comfortable around. And this is just more so a reflective question. You don't have to answer it in the chat. But do you find, like, in a group of your peers, your friends, I say in quotes, that you feel uncomfortable? And what I mean by that is this. I know for me, when I was in middle school, I had friends, but I didn't want to speak because they would make fun of how my voice sounded. They would say just really not so great things, just like you talk white, and all of these things that really put a damper on my self-esteem, because I'm like, well, this is how I talk. But being in middle school, I didn't know that I could say that back. And I felt uncomfortable because I didn't sound like other people. So if you find yourself in that situation where your friends or the peers that you have, and you don't feel comfortable in your physical body, then maybe, consider finding other friends that you can fully express who you are, and friends that want to hear you speak. Because again, your voice, it matters. And the more you use your voice, the more your self-esteem is boosted and the more confident you are. So the second gift that I found, there's just 2 more gifts and then we'll wrap up, is my power. And I just picked this like superwoman little girl thing, but is my power. And now that, and the way I found my power is through my voice. The more that I'm being able to use my voice, the more powerful I'm realizing that I really am. So how do you find your power? One way that you can find your power is taking 5 minutes every morning to just breathe and listen to you. And I know that might seem like a weird, like maybe strange, because when you think of power, I know I think of like lifting weights or, working out or something. But this, by listening to yourself, listening to your inner voice, it'll help you to just realize, oh, I do know what I'm talking about. I am amazing. Like those kind of things, those affirmations. And then the last gift that I found is my self-esteem. So how do you find your self-esteem? If you're somebody that's like, I don't have any self-esteem, because I know I was like that. When I was in middle school, self-esteem was at a 0. You continue to speak up, continue using your voice. Find that safe adult when you feel alone. It is okay to be alone, but when it comes to like you're constantly feeling that way and you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, find that safe adult. And going to what Miss Taylor was saying, maybe, finding somebody at the library, an adult at the library, like, one of like Miss Taylor, one of these adults here that you can ask, like, if they know of somebody like that, like a safe adult. So really, I just want to emphasize finding a safe adult that you can talk to and use your voice. And then also affirming yourself in the mirror. So you can say things like, I am worthy. My voice matters. Saying these things to yourself in the mirror will boost your self-esteem. And I think there's some stuff in the chat. Yeah. That's amazing, Jeremiah. For real, man. Wow. Yes. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you everybody for sharing. And going back to the people that said that it's scary, it can be scary. I 100% agree with you. It can be scary to put yourself out there, but just to know right now that you're building community. Like I saw so many people said you've returned. So maybe talking to the people in this community, because you guys are in that similar mindset of wanting to build connection. So just taking advantage of this experience that you do have and talking with the kid, the friends. I'm gonna say we're all friends here, right here. So because it can be scary. I'm not saying just go on the side of the road and talking to people, but you're already doing the work by being in a safe space like this, because this is a safe space where you can be yourself. So you're already on your way to building your self-esteem. Like you're already on your way. Even if you don't feel like that, you're here. Like you showed up. So that deserves like kudos and rounds of applause. And then, that's also just to wrap this up, like you already have these gifts. Because I know in the beginning I said I got these gifts, and you already have them. You have a voice that matters. I want to say that so many times because I didn't think my voice matters. You have a voice that matters. You have power. You have your own power. You just have to take those 5 minutes every day and just listen to yourself. And I promise you, your inner voice will tell you like everything you need to know and tell you how amazing you are, which I know Belle has been saying, and all of you are amazing. And then lastly, your self-esteem. You already have it. It's there. So that is it. And I just like to close the same way that I started, with breathing. And again, doing this breath, Please do it whenever you feel nervous. Maybe you're about to go into a social setting, because I know people said about the social anxiety. Do the breathing, do the 3 breaths before you do this, any type of social activity, a test, reading your book for the summer reading challenge, whatever it is. So what I'd like us to do now, again, is to just get comfortable, and you could sit back in that chair and just relax your jaw. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Or just look down at something on the floor that's not moving. I want you to shrug your shoulders all the way up to your ears, back behind you, and then slide your shoulder blades down. And now we're going to take those 3 breaths, and then we'll be on our way. So take a deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Do that again, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. This is the last breath, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Good. Gently open your eyes. And that's it for me. Thank you, everyone, for listening and participating. You guys are a very interactive group. I am thoroughly impressed. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, box breathing. Yes, that breathing is another great type of breathing. There's so many different types of breath work to do, and box breathing, I think of it as literally a box. So, you breathe in for the 4 counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you hold 2, 3, 4, and then you let it out 2, 3, 4. So you're literally just thinking of it as a box. Yeah, that's what that's how I think of it. And that's really a great type of breathing to do. Oh, your mom is a yoga instructor and she taught. That's good. That's good. I teach my kids too. It's so powerful. I think of it as a triangle breathing. There's so many different ways. It's just because I know when it comes to breathing and practicing yoga, meditation, people are like, I can't do it. My brain doesn't focus. So that's why it's a good way to use like these types of images in your head, so it gives your brain something to focus on. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks. Oh, thanks, guys. Bye.